What are these wristbands?
I don't know what they are.
You don't know what they are. Mr. Secretary, you have just testified to the American people you're incompetent at your job, because I've been to the southern border, and if you go to the southern border, along the southern border, you see thousands of these wristbands because the illegal immigrants wear them. The drug cartels, every color corresponds to how many thousands of dollars they owe the cartels. You have turned these cartels into multi-billion-dollar criminal organizations, and these are modern-day leg irons because these are children being sold into slavery, and you don't even know what they are. That is astonishing. Mr. Secretary, how many children have been sold into slavery under your administration?
Senator, we are taking it to the cartels.
How many children have been sold into slavery? Do you know how many children have been sold into slavery?
To an unprecedented degree.
Mr. Secretary, I want to say to you right now, your behavior is disgraceful, and the deaths, the children assaulted, the children, they are at your feet, and if you had integrity, you would resign. And I will tell you, the men and women of the Border Patrol, they've never had a political leader undermine them. They despise you, Mr. Secretary, because you're willing to let children be to follow political orders. This is a crisis. It's a disgrace. And you won't even admit this human tragedy is a crisis.
Okay, so Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas, he just survived an impeachment attempt by the Republican Party. So this guy, Mayorkas, we're just going to call him Mayorkas, he's in charge of Homeland Security, which includes the border. So this guy has been doing a horrific job. I've been calling for this guy to be impeached for years because it's an absolute tragedy what's going on down there at the border. How millions of people, we don't know who the hell these people are, millions of people have entered the country under the guise of asylum. You have the cartels running game down there at the border, on both sides of the border, in the United States and in Mexico. They're controlling the flow of traffic. They're the ones getting paid. They're the ones pushing drugs into the country. They're the ones who are doing all types of vile things to the little girls and the boys who are coming up through the border. And one way of trying to protect these people, these young people, these teenagers, these little children being violated by coyotes, by the cartels, by whoever they sell these children to, one way to try to stop that is by shutting down the borders. So if we could close the free flow of traffic down there, then people will be less incentivized to come through, and the cartel will have less people to do these things, to charge money to push drugs through, and to sell into as slavery. But the Democrats have a large agenda. They know this is going on, and their agenda is to flood Texas, Arizona, and New Mexico, California with illegal immigrants, mainly Texas, in order to turn Texas into a purple state and eventually into a blue state so they can maintain power. Because there are videos showing that these illegal immigrants saying that they will vote for Biden, and some say if they could vote, they'll vote for Biden, and some saying they will, because remember, we don't check IDs or anything like that. So illegal immigrants are free to vote. But the House Republicans, the Republican Party as a whole, throw the whole thing away, man, because these guys are weak. I talked about the Republicans a couple of weeks ago, how they ousted one of their own guys and reduced their majority, which came into play here. How they got rid of George Santos completely unnecessarily over ethics violations when we have the Democrats in the House doing all types of stupid stuff. Let's look at the Supreme Court. We have these Republican appointed judges. They went squished because these guys voted against Texas, who was trying to secure the border. They voted to support Biden and give Mayorkas the power to remove the razor wire down there in Texas. This is the Republican Party. Remember, John McCain gave a thumbs down vote when he voted against the Republican Party when they had an opportunity to get rid of Obamacare. So this is the Republican Party. These guys are weak as hell, and this is why they lose, because they can't fight fire with fire. And we're going to get into this article here. We're going to get into this CBS bias left to CBS. We're going to get into the CBS article that's talking about what happened last night, how the GOP, how the Republicans completely collapsed on themselves. Unsurprisingly, but some people are saying, oh, this is a stunning defeat. I'm not surprised at all. So let's see what's going on here. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas narrowly survived an impeachment vote on Tuesday in the House after a small group of Republicans helped sink the GOP-led effort. The House voted 216 to 214 against impeaching Mayorkas over his handling of the U.S.-Mexico border, with 4 Republicans voting with all Democrats. Oh my God, these Republicans are trash. You should have been able to tell that you were going to have an issue like that. How long did it take the Republicans to select the House Speaker? You had good candidates like Jim Jordan. They didn't even want him. These guys are too divided. The Democrats are a hive mind. You can't step out of line. If you're in the Democrat Party, especially in a position of power, you're not allowed to think for yourself. You have to let the hive mind control you. That's why they're all lockstep. But the Republicans, you have too many factions going on in the Republican Party. You got the George Bush era guys, the neocons. You got the Trumpers, the MAGA guys. You got the America First caucus. It's just too many divisions going on. And of course, you got the uniparty guys who are just there to try to get money, to try to get paid, who are worried about being reelected, getting donations, and skimming some off the top so they can be millionaires when they leave Congress. So it's just too many factions going on in the Republican Party. So these guys are very divided and way more prone to oppose each other and actually vote against each other than the Democrats. Even somebody like AOC and a squad who talk all this crap, supposed to be revolutionists, Bernie Sanders, who's really a Democrat, but he won't admit it. These guys talk all this trash, how they're revolutionaries and they're against the Democrat Party leadership, Nancy Pelosi, them. But when it comes down to vote, they vote in lockstep because they're a part of the hive mind. Republicans who voted against the impeachment resolution said Mayorkas' conduct did not rise to the level of an impeachable offense and warned about the precedent that the vote would set. This is rich right here. Don't they remember Trump got impeached twice? The second time, both times were absolutely ridiculous. The second time, Trump clearly said on camera, peacefully, make your voices known, or something like that. But the man clearly said, be peaceful. And he even tweeted later that day and told the people to go home. They impeached him anyway. They said, you are running an insurrection. Did the Republicans say, oh, look at this precedent that you're setting? So this is why they lose. Because you have to fight fire with fire. When you are going against lunatics, when you are going against radicals, you can't be all moral and righteous like, oh, no, we got to do the right thing. Let's look at the letter of the law. It's like a boxer. Some guy, he's jacked on juice. He has gloves heavier than they should be, or maybe he's using some other type of device that can help him cheat. And the other fighter's like, no, man, I got to play by the rules. I got to do the right thing. No, we don't do that stuff. And then he goes in there and get beat down. Because when you fighting against a cheater or somebody who doesn't give a damn about morals, you have to combat fire with fire. Otherwise, you might just get beat down. And that's what happens to the Republicans. That's what happens to the Republicans on a regular basis. They try to pretend to be all moral and uppity and to be better people than the Democrats, but it doesn't work. They always pointed out, oh, look at the Democrats, they're cheating. This impeachment against Trump was terrible. Oh, they're trying to jail Trump. You calling all that out, but it doesn't work because half of the American people think, oh, Trump, yeah, he should go to jail. He's guilty. A big chunk of the American people think, oh, Russia. That thing was completely true. And when you try to say, oh, well, Hillary Clinton, they denied it, people don't care. So you trying to be all righteous and moral, the results are showing that it doesn't work. You continue to lose by doing that. And that's why I talk about Greg Abbott, who's actually fighting fire with fire. That's why I talk about somebody like him. He's one of the greatest Republicans in the country right now. Maybe he should run for president because he's actually willing to go to bat against these left-wing radicals. Rep. Tom McClintock, a California Republican, said Tuesday morning that the impeachment articles failed to identify an impeachable crime that Mayorkas has committed. Who cares, man? Wait, what are you talking about? First of all, this man is letting in rapists. He's letting in drug dealers. These people commit all types of violence. We just saw cops get beat down up there in New York. He's completely forgot about the laws on the books where he's supposed to detain these people because he's using a loophole, letting everybody say, oh, yeah, I'm an asylum seeker, even though they're not. So did the Democrats say, well, we don't have enough evidence? Trump made a phone call to Ukraine and they impeached him over that. Did they have evidence? No, they didn't care. They said, we have political power and we're going to use it. And we don't give a damn about rules, morals, or whatever the Republicans have to say. But, hey, these Republicans are soft, they're weak, and they're trash. And that's why they lose. and stretched and distorted the Constitution in order to hold the administration accountable for stretching and distorting the law. Democrats accuse Republicans of using the impeachment push to score political points ahead of the 2024 election. Isn't that what the Democrats did multiple times? They always threatened to impeach people, and they actually impeached Trump twice, and it was all political. But now they're turning around and saying, Republicans, you can't use this as a weapon against us. This is all political, even though they don't. And the Republicans fall for it. With immigration being a top voter concern, they also argued that it failed to meet the bar of a high crime or misdemeanor, a criticism shared by legal experts on both sides. Mia Ehrenberg, for the Department of Homeland Security, said in a statement that the baseless impeachment should never have moved forward. If the House Republicans are serious about border security, they should abandon these political gains and instead support the bipartisan National Security Agreement in the Senate to get DHS the enforcement resources we need, she said after the vote. Now, this bipartisan deal is Mitch McConnell, these trash Republicans in the Senate who folded to the Democrats in the Senate and came to a compromise that allows 1.8 million illegal immigrants, asylum seekers into the country, not including the gotaways, just the ones who come and say, hey, I'm an asylum seeker, don't ask any questions, just let me in. Almost 2 million a year can come in. And on top of that, billions and billions of US dollars will be printed, because the United States doesn't have any money, but they will go back to the printer and give that money to countries on the other side of the world, to Israel and Ukraine, to Taiwan, while we got all types of problems at home. That's what this deal was. So the Democrats are saying, why don't these Republicans shut the hell up and just submit to us and give in to this ridiculous border deal that the Republicans in the Senate already gave in to? Secretary Mayorkas remains focused on working across the aisle to promote real solutions at the border and keep our country safe. How do you keep it safe? By letting cartels run games down there. You got gangs, you got MS-13, you got the Mexican mafia, you got all types of drugs, millions and millions of pills of fentanyl, you got cocaine coming through, you got Chinese nationals, terrorists from the Middle East coming in. I mean, spies and terrorists coming in. And you're not vetting these people. You're just saying we're just going to let anybody in because we want to take the risk. We might let terrorists in. We might let Chinese spies in. We know that these little girls are being raped. But the goal is to flood the country with illegal immigrants who are going to vote Democrat. 2 out of 3 are going to vote Democrat in the future. So if we can just take all of the bad with it, in the long run, it's going to work out for us. That's what they're thinking. But they're claiming that he's trying to keep the country safe. Representative Ken Buck of Colorado, one of the Republicans who voted against the impeachment, indicated that another vote could take place once House Majority Leader Steve Scalise, a Louisiana Republican, returns to work. Scalise has been working remotely as he undergoes cancer treatment. Yeah, some of these Democrats, like there was Al Green who had surgery. I think he's from Texas, and the Democrat leader said, look, man, we know you're at home trying to recuperate, but we need to drag you in because we need you to vote. You don't have to say much. You don't have to really engage with people. We just need you to be there to vote so we can save Mayorkas because we don't want this bad look. So they dragged this man in. He was wheeled in order to vote. GOP Representative Mark Green of Tennessee, chairman of the House Homeland Security Committee, teased another vote. I don't want to hear it at this point, talking about, oh, this ain't over. Maybe when Scalise comes back, oh, we'll have another vote. Bro, you should have got this right the first time. In fact, it shouldn't have even taken this long. This should have been done back in 2021. When you initially saw this man coming into power as the Secretary of Homeland Security, failed to execute the laws on the book, him and Joe Biden are completely trash, and the border czar who's hiding now, I don't even know where the hell she is when it comes to this issue, Kamala. When they were doing a horrific job, y'all should get rid of them then. But you wait years and then have a failed vote. You have people in your own party defecting against you, talking about, oh, this isn't right. It's going to set a bad precedent, even though they impeached Trump twice on bad precedent. You got your own party defecting against you, making y'all look horrific, get slapped around by the Democrats, and then you say, oh, this ain't over. We'll be back. I don't want to hear it, man. This is not the end of our efforts to hold Secretary Mayorkas accountable, Green said in a social media post. I look forward to Leader Scalise's return. Oh, shut the hell up, man. Y'all are weak. Even if Scalise came back, look, man, I'll believe it when I see it. As far as Joe Biden being impeached, was they dragged their feet on this too, and they should have done a while ago. especially at that whole Afghanistan debacle, what, 2.5, almost 3 years ago now? They dragged their feet on that. They completely failed when it came to Homeland Security, Secretary Mayorkas. So all your crap talking, anything that the Republicans have to say, any threats that you make, oh, we're going to hold Hunter Biden accountable for running game over there, stealing all this money, him and Joe Biden, 10% but a big guy. I don't want to hear it. Because you're not going to do anything. All the Republicans do is chirp. And then they get bent over and done in by the Democrats. White House spokesperson Ian Sam said the vote's failure should send a message that extreme political stunts like this are a waste of time. Only if the Republicans are doing it, because the Democrats, their extreme stunts often work. Like making up stuff about Trump. Oh, Trump made a phone call. He tried to get information on his political rival. This was before Joe Biden even declared he was running. He tried to get information from Ukraine about Joe Biden. He asked a question. Therefore, we're going to impeach him. And it worked. Because the hive mind Democrats are lockstep and the Republicans are weak as hell. They just sit around and let it happen. Then look at the RNC. Chairwoman, she's about to be out. She's about to resign because the Republicans have been on the losing streak. You got the red wave from 2022 that never happened. This is why you're in this position now, because you have a razor-thin majority in the House and the Democrats control the Senate. You let them run games with mail-in ballots and all that. You didn't fight fire and fire. No, mail-in ballots aren't good. We can't have election day turn into election month and have people coming in voting all month long. We're better than that. The Democrats do it. And then guess what happens? The Democrats win because you are trying to have the moral high ground and not fighting fire with fire. So that's what happens to you. But yeah, these Republicans are absolute garbage, man. Absolute garbage. They continue to lose because they're weak. They don't have the cojones to do what they need to do, to kick somebody out. This man has done a horrific job, but you're like, oh, no, we don't want to set that precedent. It'll be a bad look if we impeach the Secretary of Homeland Security. I know millions and millions of undocumented immigrants, criminal aliens, have broken into the country. I know the cartel is making billions of dollars down there, and Chinese spies have entered the country, but... And yeah, that's also another thing, that Chinese spy balloon. Aren't you the Secretary of Homeland Security? But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this. Leave your thoughts below. Share the video. Thanks for watching.